All right, quick correction. I blame my quality assurance team. Had a poor video upload, and so I'm quickly redoing it. So consider, if you will, a CIO and a day he'll never forget. It was a Thursday morning. I was at an offsite Techies in Banking forum near our backup data center, opening my Diet Mountain Dew and getting my spot set up, expecting maybe 10 minutes apiece before the first session. Then my phone lit up with the kind of message no CIO ever wants to see. Something weird is going on with the network. Can you get to the backup data center? I made the trip, packed up, and what we found was worse than weird. It was a cyber attack. The adrenaline hit immediately. I couldn't hear anything in the data center except for my stomach. Emotions started running faster than my brain. I didn't know exactly what was happening yet, and I started wondering about plans that had only ever been discussed in theory. I remembered something Mike Tyson once said, that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. We just got punched so hard that bells were literally ringing in the data center. Here's the part that mattered most, and the part that saved us. We had an incident response plan. Not a perfect one, not one that magically prevented all this chaos, but one that gave us structure, roles, and priorities before the crisis hit, and set baseline expectations before anyone needed them. That made a big difference. So, welcome to Click Start, Restart. I'm Gary Kern. Short episodes, real talk, practical ideas at the intersection of leadership, technology, and the cliches that connect them. So, I expected this video to work well. I was disappointed. So, I'm redoing. Today's episode is about an underrated discipline in leadership, and one that I've seen proven true in boardrooms, help desks, project war rooms, and yes, cyber incidents and podcasts. Unspoken expectations become future disagreements. There's an old quote that goes, "Blessed is he that expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed." Technically, it works, but it doesn't work in technology. Stakeholders always expect magic. Here's the thing, though. Expectations aren't rules. They're agreements. They're clarity. They're what you establish before you need them, calmly, collaboratively, and without the pressure of a crisis already in motion. Your spouse asks you to do something, you do it, but not their way, so they aren't as pleased as you had hoped. That lacked expectation management. Once the punches land, no, not from your spouse, that is not the time to start negotiating priorities. The people who try to set expectations in the middle of a crisis aren't leading, they're just adding noise. So, back to that Thursday morning. The plan didn't survive the incident perfectly. No plan ever does. Iron Mike was right about that. But the structure survived, the priorities survived, the roles survived. We knew who was leading the response. We knew who was communicating, and to whom and how often. We knew what systems were truly critical and what could wait. We knew how decisions should be made. We also learned a lot and noted our IRP revisions for later. And because those expectations were already agreed upon, we didn't waste time with new perspectives or arguments. We didn't waste time negotiating. We didn't waste time defending choices under fire. We spent our time responding. Yes, we still had some of that mess, but we easily moved past them once we pulled out the documented plan. In any crisis, everyone thinks their stuff is the most critical. Everyone wants answers. Everyone wants to know why their thing isn't fixed yet. But when expectations are preset, the conversation changes from, "Why aren't you fixing my issues first?" to, "Do we need to revisit what we agreed upon?" That shift from accusation to collaboration is leadership gold. and it only happens when the expectations were spoken before they were needed. One of the most underrated tools in IT leadership is a service catalog. Not because it's pretty or technical or has a lot of words, but because it sets expectations. It tells the organization, this is what IT does. This is how we do it. This is how long it takes. And this is how we prioritize. The same principle applies to support service level agreements. When priorities are written down and agreed upon collaboratively, not handed down from IT on high, but built with the business, something changes. The loudest voice stops winning. The most squeaky wheel stops jumping the queue, and you stop defending decisions and start solving problems. A project manager's role is defined with documenting and managing to expectations. With agreed upon rules of engagement, frustration drops and execution improves. Most leadership failures aren't competence failures, they're expectation failures. People weren't aligned, priorities weren't clear, roles weren't defined, assumptions weren't surfaced. The what if conversations never happened. You never planned out what those on the other side of the table would expect in various situations. And then when the moment hits, a cyber incident, a project delay, a vendor failure, or just a brutal Monday morning, disappointment shows up like an uninvited guest. Not because the team didn't work hard, but because expectations were never spoken. Confusion is what causes disappointment, and confusion is almost always preventable. So 3 things you can take from me today. First, surface expectations early, say the quiet parts out loud, define priorities before you need them with your customers. 5 minutes of clarity up front saves 5 hours of conflict later. Find out what is reasonable when situations don't make people unreasonable. Second, build your what-if scenarios. What if 2 critical issues hit at once? What if the priority changes mid-project? What if we disagree on the call? These aren't pessimistic conversations, they're leadership insurance. The best time to agree on what to do when things go wrong is before things go wrong. Third, document the agreements, incident response plans, service catalogs, project charters, priority matrices. They don't eliminate chaos, but they eliminate confusion. And confusion is what turns a manageable problem into a full-blown crisis. As you head into your week, or end your week, ask yourself, where are expectations unspoken in your world right now? Where are assumptions hiding? Where do you need to truly define the what-ifs before they define you? Unspoken expectations become future disappointments, and you and your team deserve fewer of those. Thanks for joining me on this Clické Start. If this episode sparked something, or if you've lived through your own punch-in-the-mouth moment, I'd love to hear about it. I hope I'm meeting your expectations for short, quick, easy reminders of things to help your day click. Hit like, follow, share, comment, subscribe, whatever, ad nauseum, so you don't miss the next one. And I'll try to do better with my quality assurance people. So I'll catch you next time on Clické Start.